Those are 2 hours of my life that I'm not getting back. What's going on, you guys? James here with another real review, and today we're taking a look at the Netflix original comedy, Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga. And the Oscar for longest movie title of the year goes to, I mean, goodness gracious, that's a mouthful. Now, before I get into what I liked and what I didn't like about the movie, guys, if it's your first time here at the channel, welcome to Real James. So happy you can be a part of the family. Now, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit the big red button below and subscribe to the channel for some more movie reviews, reactions, and yeah, I'm talking about TV as well. And don't forget to tap on that bell so you stay up to date with anything new. Also, go ahead and smash that like button below because it does a ton to help the channel out. We are so close to 2,000 subscribers, guys. And go ahead and comment. Let me know if you've seen Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga, because it is, well, it's quite the film. Alright, so let's get into the movie. Guys, I didn't know much about this film going into it. I saw a trailer thanks to my good friends Mike and Leash. They reacted to it. I thought it looked like a crazy trailer, and I didn't think it was even a real movie until I figured out that yes, it is a 2-hour film. That is a long movie for something that is so bad. Now, the director, David Dobkin, he did Wedding Crashers, and what's really surprising is I liked Wedding Crashers. I didn't love it, and he's got some okay comedies under his belt, but I figured, wow, Will Ferrell and Rachel McAdams, and then you want to bring in Dan Stevens as well, and Pierce Bronson. Like, you're not going to get a better cast for a film like this, right? Maybe. But yeah, the cast looked pretty good, and I figured, let's give it a shot. Why not? It's Friday. Listen, we're in quarantine, and like I said in my intro, guys, that's 2 hours that you're not going to get back. At least I know that I'm not going to get back. Now, if you don't know much about the story, it surrounds Eurovision, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, international singing competitions in the world. It is much better than American Idol. The singers are great. A lot of different countries really take pride in seeing their men and women go up there and compete to basically be champions. And you know, listen, Eurovision is really cool, but this movie made it seem kind of like a joke, and I hope people don't walk away thinking that Eurovision's a joke, because it is much more than that. But our story surrounds two childhood friends, Lars, played by Will Ferrell, and Sigrid, played by Rachel McAdams. Now, Lars has always wanted to prove the town of Iceland and his father, Eric, who is played by Pierce Bronson, wrong. He wants to let them know, I can win Eurovision. They get qualified, they go and they compete for that title. It sounds interesting. It definitely sounds like a comedy I've never seen before, but the reason we haven't seen a comedy like this before is because, well, this one doesn't work. Okay, listen, I don't want to be too negative, and I hate being the bearer of bad news, but let's start off with a couple of things that I actually didn't mind too much about. I'm gonna read the title again, guys. Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga. So you would think that our two leads here, Will Ferrell and Rachel McAdams, would be the ones to pick up this movie when it gets stuck in the mud. Well, you would be wrong, because it is actually Dan Stevens and Rachel McAdams that are, I would say, probably the only two that are pretty genuine on screen together. Dan Stevens plays Russian singer Alexander Lemtov, and he's very over the top, I guess that's the word I would use, and he helps Sigrid, who of course again is Rachel McAdams, pick her head up when she's feeling low, gives her that confidence, is there by her side, right? I like it. I think it was kind of neat. The only thing is it doesn't last too long, and we get way more of Will Ferrell and Rachel McAdams together, and we'll talk about that soon, but they did not work together. And hey, I'll sing the praises of the cinematography here. I mean, it looked pretty good. I love the landscape shots, and hey, I'm really struggling here, guys. But yeah, the establishing shots were pretty good in this movie. It really set the tone for the film, or whatever tone that it had. Again, I'm struggling here, guys. So you know what? Maybe that's a sign that we have to move on and start talking about what didn't work in this movie. I was hoping I'd be surprised. I didn't hear great things about this film, but I figured let me go in open-minded and sit down and maybe take it for face value. Is this movie going to be worth my time? I got about 30 minutes into the film and thought, oh my god, we have an hour and 30 minutes left of this movie. 2 hours, okay? That's where we're going to start. This movie is unnecessarily long, and unfortunately, it is bogged down completely by unfunny moments. I mean, the humor here is just not good. None of the punchlines really hit, and I really think most of the time I was sighing rather than laughing. The closest I actually got to a full belly laugh was this one guy in the bar that Lars and Sigrid play at. He's just screaming the song he wants to hear. He just says, "Ya ya ding dong," and it doesn't sound funny when I do it, but when you see it in the movie, it is actually one of the more humorous moments of the film. Outside of that, though, nothing about this movie was funny. And in a movie that is literally supposed to spoof a popular event like Eurovision and everything surrounding it, all the theatrics, the costumes, and the presentation, it did a terrible job at that. And just like the film, all of these jokes are running too long. There are running jokes in this movie actually that really just don't resonate with me. Like, yes, I get it, I remember you made this joke an hour ago, but it was just not funny then and it won't be funny now. Now, as I started looking deeper into the film, I realized that Will Ferrell really has been ending up on the wrong side of Hollywood for a long time in terms of comedies. I mean, his most recent Downhill that I saw was the first movie that made me think, oh, is this going to be sort of the downward trend for Will Ferrell's career? Because I love him in Anchorman and Anchorman 2, and of course he's done great stuff with Saturday Night Live back in his early days. But I'm not gonna lie, this movie was just not good, and a large part of it was because of him. I mean, he is just not funny in this movie, and he also really tries to make you laugh, but I'm sorry, screaming jokes doesn't make them funnier. And guys, if you're already telling yourself, man, I'm not gonna watch this movie after this review, go ahead and watch Blades of Glory. That's another film where he, of course, is competing, and it's much, much better. So, yeah, do that. And another thing that disappointed me was the misuse of Rachel McAdams. She is an amazing actor. I love her in everything she's in, except for this film, but that's not her fault. I mean, the script is bloated. They even try to force a romantic subplot between Lars and Sigrid. I'm supposed to believe that they've always had this sort of connection, but I'm sorry, it's such an unnatural interaction. I mean, to be completely honest with you, outside of Dan Stevens and Rachel McAdams, none of these interactions felt normal to me. It just felt forced. And then the movie tries to throw some surprise cameos at you like Demi Lovato, but when I tell you she's a part of some of the most odd sequences in this movie, well, you're probably gonna have to see for yourself. But yeah, it's weird. And then you just really get to a point by the 45-minute mark, at least I did, where I looked at my watch and I thought, my goodness, we really have an hour and 15 minutes left of this movie. Why? I couldn't find real purpose in this storyline. I really couldn't find the reason for making this movie at all if this was going to be the end result, because the idea is unique, but the execution here was awful. There's even this moment towards the middle of the film where they have this sing-along sequence, and they're singing Cher, they're singing ABBA, and I get it, and Black Eyed Peas I think at one point too. I mean, listen, I understand they're trying to bring in different audience members, but it felt so hokey. It's so shallow, and that really is a good representation of the script itself. It's just hollow and there's nothing of substance present. Yeah, I'm a little mad. Just a little bit. And then if you're concerned about the authenticity of this film, I mean, some of the voices, or at least the accents I should say, were a little rough around the edges, and there are multiple moments where Will Ferrell just loses the accent and goes right back to his American accent, and I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, everything else took me out of the film, but now this is taking me out even more so. So overall, if you had to ask me, what the heck do you think of Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga? Is that the name of it? Gosh, I keep thinking I'm getting that wrong, but no, it's just that long. This feels like a movie somebody made after watching a parody trailer for a fake film. Again, it's one of the worst movies of 2020, and it ends this month on such a flat note. I can't even recommend that you guys sit down and watch this movie and make fun of it, because it's not even laughably bad. It's just bad. The script is bloated and features awful jokes. The interactions are not real. Nothing felt natural at all, even when I know they're clearly trying to spoof Eurovision. And again, I'm just wishing I had 2 hours of my time back, and why was this movie 2 hours, guys? It's just completely uninteresting, and Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga is gonna go down as one of those films that you felt had really good production value because it must have had a good budget, and it was just thrown in the garbage, and then they lit the garbage on fire. You see what I'm doing here? Keeping up with the whole fire theme. I just really feel bad for Rachel McAdams, and heck, I feel bad for Dan Stevens too, because both of them are so good, and they're in a movie that is gonna go totally unrecognized by the end of the year because everyone's gonna forget about it, myself included. But it might take home a Razzie or two. Maybe. Well, there you go, guys. That's my take on Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga. If you like this movie, or if you didn't, let me know in the comments below. Get loud. Tell me which moment made you sigh the loudest, because there's plenty of them that we can talk about. Don't forget to like this video, and if you haven't already, hit the big red button below and subscribe to the channel. You guys have been amazing, and your support is so appreciated. We're almost at 2,000, guys. Go ahead and tap on that bell as well so you don't miss out on any more reviews and reactions just like this one. Also, guys, you're gonna want to stick around on the channel because I'm dropping my review for Ju-On Origins very soon. It's the Grudge miniseries on Netflix. I'm excited to sit down and watch that and probably get scared, might pee my pants a little bit this much. Alrighty guys, again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you at the next screening.